Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Morgan Wolf. Let's get to your top headlines for today. New this afternoon, Nick Firkus, convicted in 2023 for the 2010 murder of his wife Heidi, will stay in prison for the rest of his life. The Minnesota Supreme Court upholding the first-degree murder conviction in a ruling today. This is a big deal because the ruling will affect other cases in Minnesota that rely mostly on circumstantial evidence, which is strengthening jury verdicts in such cases when they are up for appeal. Chief Justice Natalie Hudson dissented, writing that she believed that Firkus' conviction should be reversed regarding the circumstantial evidence test, that the court was split 4-3. Now, during his trial, Firkus claimed that his gun went off while struggling with an intruder, with the bullet hitting his wife Heidi in the back. All eyes are on the state capitol right now as lawmakers announce new plans for fighting and preventing fraud in our state. House DFL lawmakers announcing a plan to stop fraud. They describe it as a sweeping package of legislation. They said that the legislation will update critical state IT systems. The lawmakers will also have a proposal to change the way that fraud prevention is legislated. This comes just one day after the House's Finance Committee voted against a GOP-led fraud effort. Their proposal would create a statewide Office of Inspector General to investigate suspected fraud. Some House DFLers say that they'd support that bill eventually, but say it is not ready quite yet. Gun restrictions are also on the docket at the Capitol today. Right now, the House Elections Committee is hearing a bill giving local governments more control over gun laws. At 3, the House Education Policy Committee will discuss changes to when guns should be allowed on school property. Now, this follows powerful testimony from Annunciation parents urging lawmakers to ban assault weapons and high capacity magazines, Several survivors also speaking out, including Lydia Kaiser, an 8th grader who was shot in the head during the attack. She says doctors had to remove half of her skull to take out bullet fragments from her brain.
All children have the right to live, free from gun violence, in schools, churches, and in our communities. Elected officials have a duty to protect us from guns. No one should have to go through what we went through at Annunciation.
At the end of the day, the committee voted along party lines and the legislation didn't move forward. But House lawmakers say that they will talk about this again in the Public Safety Committee. Right now, flags at the state capitol and across the state will be at half-staff in honor of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Governor Walz announcing that they will remain that way until sunset tomorrow. This comes after just over a week following the iconic civil rights leader's death. Tomorrow and Friday, he will lie in repose in Chicago and at the Rainbow Push Coalition, an organization that Jackson founded. Starting Sunday, there will be celebrations of life in Washington, D.C. and also his home state of South Carolina. His private services will be next Saturday in Chicago. New details on a deadly shooting inside a Minneapolis apartment building overnight. Police say that it happened at the Abbott Apartments on the south side around 11 o'clock last night. So officers say that they found a man shot dead in the common area of that building. Investigators believe an altercation escalated and then ended in that shooting. What exactly led up to the shooting is not exactly clear at this point. No arrests have been made in this case. New this afternoon, we are also hearing from Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar after she shouted at President Trump during last night's State of the Union address. This was when he touted that his immigration operation is saving American lives.
No, I think it was really unavoidable. The president talked about protecting Americans, and I just had to remind him that his administration was responsible for killing 2 of my constituents. I think many people look at that moment when the president says it is our responsibility to protect Americans, and he does not acknowledge the fact that 2 Americans, 2 of my constituents, 2 of our neighbors were killed. And it was important for me to just remind the American people that the president and his administration was responsible for killing 2 American citizens.
These are the American citizens that Omar is referring to, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, that were shot and killed in Minneapolis at the hands of federal agents during Operation Metro Surge. Right now, the FBI is leading the investigations into both of those killings and blocking state authorities from their part of the investigation. Now, as we learn more about the lasting impact of Operation Metro Surge, we are also getting a clearer picture of what the reality still is for families in hiding. Heidi Wigdahl gives us a closer look.
When you hear in church, love thy neighbor,
He need diapers.
it looks like this. Okay, perfect. At Iglesia Dios Habla Hoy, or DHH Church in South Minneapolis,
Before the Metro Surge, this was a discipleship class.
Pastor Sergio Amezcua
And now it's a diaper storeroom.
opened up his church when the ice surge left families shut inside.
I mean, I would have never believed you. You were to tell me last year, you're going to be distributing over 1 million pounds of food in 2 months. I'll be like, no, it makes no sense.
Do you want to put granola bars in with cookies or?
As DHS launched Operation Metro Surge in the beginning of December, DHH Church launched its own operation.
Yeah, World Vision sent us 8 pallets of diapers, blankets, hygiene kits. So very right on time because we need them for tomorrow. So
Pastor Amezcua thought families might need help for 2 weeks. It's now going on 3 months.
we have helped so far over 152,000 people since we started doing this.
You've helped 152,000 people?
Yes, with food, diapers, formula, hygienes, and we have helped over 100 families now with rental assistance as well.
While food packing has moved to 2 warehouses, hygiene products come here.
And the donations are not as plentiful now, but we're still here. And sometimes it doesn't feel like enough. It doesn't feel like a lot, but anything is better than nothing.
The need is still there. We have seen maybe a 10 to 15% decrease. And I say decrease, not for us giving food, but instead of us taking the food to them, they all come and get it.
Yeah, those bags seem like they're tricky.
Serena Armstrong
The first is going to be size 1s.
has been volunteering here since December.
Even if 100% I was confident today that this was over, we would probably be here for a while afterwards, and we're going to continue to need that support from the community.
Community support has gotten them this far.
I could not have been more proud to live in the city that I live in here in Minneapolis.
15, yeah?
People can say they love God, but if they don't love their neighbor, I don't think they're loving God. And when you love your neighbor, you're right in the right path, And I think that keeps me going.
Well, to help more people, they work with community partners, both in the Twin Cities and other parts of the state. Monetary donations they use to buy food wholesale, but they do need hygiene products like diapers and toilet paper. They have volunteers set up to take donations on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 4. You can also buy things online and ship it directly to the church. We have more information on that on our website, KARE11.com. Happening today, the St. Paul City Council will weigh on new restrictions on where banks, restaurants, and pharmacies can open new drive-through lanes. Under the new proposal, anyone hoping to open a new drive-through lane would be required to offer more, quote, stacking spaces for waiting cars. For example, a fast food joint would need room for 12 cars compared to the 4 required right now. City leaders say that the goal is safer and more pedestrian-friendly streets. Businesses, however, have expressed concerns about how this could negatively impact them. Pine Island will soon be home to a data center, and Google is the owner. It is just the latest chapter in this new frontier dividing communities across the country. Here's Sammy Salina breaking down what's causing this controversy.
For months, Rodney and Joyce Lanners have been researching everything they can about data centers since they heard one may be coming to town.
I could get the whole pile down here if you wanted to see the whole pile.
They didn't like what they found.
You got all the environmental impact of that. You got electricity.
And on Tuesday, it was finally confirmed that Google was behind the massive data center project. Xcel Energy says it will power the facility.
Google will pay for those resources for the Google data center. And so customers will be wholly protected and insulated from rate impacts from this data center.
Jack Eiley, Vice President of Data Centers for Xcel Energy, says there will be advanced air cooling on site.
So it is nothing like the levels of water usage that some data centers have.
They're looking at expanding capacity, energy capacity to about 2 gigawatts. And much of that, if not all of that, is proposed to be green energy.
John Weissman with the U is an expert in large computer systems. He says green energy is likely to entice a community like Pine Island into having them.
Of course, the downside of this is the environmental impact needs to be looked at.
But David Tu, another expert at the U, says residents have a right to be concerned about a data center in their backyard.
Our house is less than a half a mile. Straight up to the east.
The Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy filed a lawsuit against the city and the project's developer, Ryan Companies, alleging the environmental review was inadequate. A court date is scheduled for April.
We wanted to stay there the rest of our lives after being here for 53 years, but we're already talking about moving.
The Lanners are concerned big tech is already taking advantage of their little town, pointing to an abatement passed by city leaders earlier this month.
You gave that to a $4 trillion company. They don't need it.
While city leaders say that money will come back to the community, the Lanners worry it's all moving too fast.
We're not ready for them.
Xcel says that the next step will be taking contracts to the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. Google declined our request for an interview, but said that in a press release that this will help them expand their AI and cloud capabilities. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.